Yes, agree. Let the bear tribe rise! Ah!
Join the team.
You know, I don't really know how they do this, but these little meeples smell like a rich, smoky bacon. I don't, and it's almost like they did it on purpose to just even more go with the theme of like frying up some smoky bacon as a tribe. Oh man, that is good stuff. Hey team, this is McGuire Review, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new one from Breaking Games called Rise
Of the Tribes.
Let's get locked in and ready to go. All right, now before we get into what I like to consider this as an epic, awesome game, Bear, should we do it now? We'll do it? We're going to do it now. We are going to do a giveaway on Rise of Tribes for the team. That's right, guys. You know how it works. Hit that subscribe, comment below. Got to be a team member. Put a comment below, and Bear will be pressing the button of fate on August the 6th. That is one day after Gen Con 51. Bear's going to hit the button of fate, and we're going to select one team member that's going to get shipped to them for free, open worldwide, a copy of Rise of Tribes. Now, not only are you going to get the base game Rise of Tribes, we are also going to get you a copy of the Deluxe add-on for the game. So if you are the random subscriber that is selected when the button of fate is pressed, not only will you get the base Rise of Tribes game, you'll also get the Deluxe add-on. So this is an awesome one, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe. If you're already a team member, make sure to watch this video and comment below. We are going to be doing another Breaking Games coming up very soon here. Another game out of their shop that's going to be released at Gen Con. It's called Expanse City. And we're going to be doing a giveaway on that one too. So be watching for that video. It's going to be awesome, guys. It's going to be awesome. We got two great new Breaking Game titles, and we're doing giveaways on both of them for the team. So I'm pretty excited about that. Bear's excited about that. He begged me to do it. That's why I did it. You know, I got to give in to the little guy. I mean, he threatened me with his war staff, so what are you going to do? All right, hit that subscribe, like us on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter as well if you can. Now, let's get back into Rise of Tribes and talk about how cool all these mechanics are of this game and how playing it just makes you feel like you truly are this tribal leader growing and trying to make your way in the world. I'm going to have to say, you know, Breaking Games has been making a lot of good stuff. Lately, there's been tons of good stuff coming out of their shop. This one here has really impressed me. Everything from the component quality to the artwork, all the way to the rulebook. I really do feel like for all games, the rulebook is a critical component to the game, obviously, because the rules are there of how to play it, but just the layout and the design, and if a rulebook is very clean and very readable, it makes the gaming experience just that much better. But I do want to grab the box and just show you this box, because the box was done very well. It's a nice, thick, hard cardboard box. It's got some awesome artwork on the front. I absolutely love the artwork and the theme of this game. That's one of the reasons why I like it so much. It isn't just the mechanics of how the game plays out, it's also the artwork and the theme, and I'll tell you, this game is extremely thematic. This game drips with theme, to the point where the theme alone and how the game plays out draws you in as a player and makes you want to play over and over and over again. And the game is very simple. We'll talk about that here in a second. You can play this game pretty quickly, and it's a very simple game, so it's an excellent gateway game for people that may not be into gaming. And I think the theme isn't too overly fantasy, where that will appeal to a broader audience as well. So look at the awesome artwork on the back. We'll take a look at the back of the box as well here, and we see it is ages 10 plus, so you can get the younger community in on this one. Players 2 to 4, so up to a 4-player game. We do have our classic 3-player setup going for us here, me, Bear, and Smokey, and then it is a 30 to 60 minutes game, so you can see that you can play this game out pretty quick, and that comes into play with our race to the 15 points for the greatest tribe in the land. And we'll talk about how that works, because I like that mechanic as well. So you'll see here, here's the box, and we'll pop it open really quick because Inside, I think they did a really nice job. Bear, hold this for me here over there. Thanks, buddy. I think they did a really nice job laying out the inside of this box, too. So you'll see here everything's out of the box, obviously. But there is an area for each one of the components that is down in this plastic insert, and it does hold the components really well. And then you'll find that there's a little part here that pops out, and what's stored underneath there is what they call the advanced game. So there are some components, and we'll hit those in a second, that don't have to be played in the base part of the game. You can add them in as like an advanced option, some of which I do recommend you always play with, some of which maybe you can have that decision. There are some base components from the advanced version of the game that I think just fit nicely with the general play style of the game, and I would recommend that you always include them. So there's that, but they give you that option so it can make the game a little easier for younger kids. If you do want to bring younger kids in, you can leave those out, and it just kind of scales down the game. So that's really what can dictate what components you add into the game, how advanced you want that game to be. And then right here, there's a nice little artistic sleeve that's included. And this version that I have here does include the Deluxe edition, and that is a nice extra edition that you can buy that will give you the wood bits that will replace all of your chits that are included in the game. And we'll open that up here in a second. But what's nice about the design is that this little box here does fit right down into the main box, and it was designed that way. So you don't have to worry about trying to cram all the components in there or carrying another box with you. So that's the box. And I wanted to take a second, thanks Bear, to just kind of look at the box because I think, because I really think the box here is part of the experience as well, because it was designed so nicely to put everything back in. So let's take a look really quick here at our Deluxe edition, and all of these things you can purchase. You can still purchase the Deluxe edition. This was Kickstarted. It was very successful on Kickstarter. It's now being delivered to the backers, and you also can pre-order this and buy the base game as well as this Deluxe add-on edition directly from Breaking Games website. There'll be a link below, and there are obviously some other third-party sites that you can pre-order this from as well. So you'll see when you get that off, there's a nice little thin piece of what I like to call tracing paper that is right on the top of this, and then you've got the awesome wood meeples and components that you can use to replace all of the chits in the game, all of the tokens in the game. Everything will be replaced with what you see here, and that's pretty cool. I mean, you don't need this if you don't want it. You can just use the tokens and the chits. It's just as good. But if you do want to really class up the game and make it more of a deluxe edition, then you can add this on, and it's not too expensive to get this to add to the game. And if you really like the game, I would highly suggest probably picking this up. And the little huts are pretty cool too, little laser cut wood tokens. Those are pretty awesome. So we'll set that right here. So now what I want to do is just go over some of the components that we got on the board, and we can talk about how this awesome game plays out. So what I'm going to do is start right over here with the actual player boards, and we can take a look at those. Now every player is going to get a color assigned to them, and they're going to get a meeple, their tribes that they start with, and each color will be different. And I will call out that every one of these sculpts of the meeples are different as well. It may be hard to tell, but if we look at each one of these, like this little meeple is holding, this little yellow meeple here is like holding a jar, and then this one here is holding what looks like to be kind of maybe an axe or some type of hammer, and then the red one here is holding like a spear, and the blue one is holding which maybe could be like a sickle. So each one of those wooden meeples are different sculpt. And then you're going to get a deck of cards, and they'll be color-coded. It's very easy. You just grab the deck that's of your color, and you'll shuffle those up when you start the game. And these are called development, advancement cards, and on them you'll find different things. Some of them have a kind of a goldish brown top, and some of them have a blue top. And those are going to do different things for you. They're going to give you victory points here. You'll see right here there is a victory point total that you'll be awarded if you were able to complete that, and they will be completed by a use of either resources that you'll acquire as you play, or they'll be completed by achieving certain things on the map. And they'll be worth different victory points, and some of them will just get you victory points. Usually the ones where you achieve something on the map, you'll get a bigger victory point value. And these here where you achieve with the resources will be things that will be put into play for you, and you will always get that ability then forward for the rest of the game, which I felt like that was a really fun thing as well, because one of the actions you'll do, it's called lead, and we'll talk about all of them, will allow you to draw a certain number of these cards and put them out sort of to the left side of your player board. That just means they're in progress. And once you're able to complete one of those, or however many you have out in front of you, you'll be able to then move them to the right side of the board, and then they'll be completed developments and advancements. And this one says carts, so if I was able to complete this as a player, it says may move 2 additional tribe members. So when you move, you're able to move however many you're able to get with the move action, as well as 2 additional members. So it just allows you to move a little faster. That's called the cart. And you'll find, again, how rich this game is with theme. As you play, you can get horses, you can get carts, canoes, there's saber-toothed tigers that come out, there's woolly mammoths that come out and can be hunted. There are volcanoes that will erupt and mess up an area. There's special tiles on your land here that you set up, and this will be set up in different ways depending on how many players. Again, this is a 3-player board game setup that will play out and happen. So it really does give you that thematic feel of all these tribes, you're really rising up. You start small, you rise up quick over the course of the game, and you're running into all these problems that are being generated through your event deck here. And we'll talk about how that actually triggers and starts to come out onto the board to affect all the players. So it's just really fun that you're not only taking meeples and moving them and trying to secure different tiles and gather the most resources and get victory points, you're also working on developing the technologies of your tribe to get better and more powerful and stronger to quickly get to that 15, because that's how you win the game. It's the first tribe that hits 15 points, and I love that mechanic. I love that design style where it isn't, okay, the first person that gets to 15, okay, you're done, and now everybody else gets a turn, and then, okay, how many victory points did everybody get? There's the Ring doorbell again. It's actually a straight race to that 15, and whoever gets 15 victory points first is the winner, period. The second someone hits 15 points, that player wins. And I love that design style because it really adds this tension when everybody's down here at the end. And these are really cool. I'll have to call that as well. This is a really cool design to go with the player point marker as being like this little arrow or arrowhead. Because it doesn't, you could kind of stack them all on there if you want to, but I love this look where you can just kind of have them pointing to, where you are. I felt that was a really good design approach. But once you get down here to the end and you got, multiple players that are like really close, let's say someone's got 13 and 11 and 11, it may only be one more turn and you'll be able to get the amount of victory points possible to win the game. And it may be because you've been storing up resources and you'll complete a bunch of these advancements, developments really fast within a turn. It really gets tense at the end there because it's the first person that hits that 15 walks away as the winner. Okay, so that's how your deck is going to work, and we'll put that back here for the blue player, and then for the teal player here, and there are multiple different types of tribes. There are actually quite a few. You can see them all here. I'm using 3 of them, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them actually still left. So in total, you have 8 tribes. It's a 4-player game, so there's always going to be this replayability of which tribe that you go with. Now, here's where the advanced game comes into play, and you'll see this component right up here, these cards. Every one of these tribes, these cards are double-sided, so you'll see here's one side that doesn't have an image of your tribe, and it will actually list out the order of play. So when you're playing the basic game, and this is one of the components that I'll say you might want to leave out as far as the basic game is concerned and play the game a few times. And you may just like it this way every time, but I would say start this way and leave the tribe specific abilities or power out and play a few times without that one part of the advanced game. And it will list out the order of play right here on the card, and you'll see each one of the things you'll be able to do when it's your turn, which is you'll score villages first. So any villages you have on the map as a player, or that tribe, you'll score. You'll roll dice. Talk about how that works. It's a really nice mechanic as well. You'll take any of the actions that you choose to do, your 2 actions within the game, and you do have to take 2 different actions. There are 4 actions available. You do take 2, and they have to be different. You can't move twice, grow twice, gather. It's move and grow, or grow and gather, lead and move. You'll choose which ones you want to do. And then you're going to resolve conflicts. So anytime there are conflicts on a tile, which means not just multiple different colors, like that wouldn't be a conflict. It's once you get over 5 meeples on a tile, that's going to create a conflict. And it may be more than 5 meeples of your own tribe. You're going to have to take them off until you get down to 5. And then you're going to build villages and complete goals. So that's when you're going to cash resources in to build villages on tiles that you have meeples on, or you're going to complete your goals, which are what we talked about earlier. These advancements and developments are out here on the side. You're going to complete those, cash those in, and be able to get those, reap those benefits as well, whether it's victory points or new abilities like we saw with our cart here. And it's going to show right here at the bottom what it's going to take for each tribe to be able to build a village. And I will say that that is different no matter how you're playing the game. That's always different for each one of the tribes. This one here, you need 4 stone, you need a forest, and you need a fish to be able to build a village for this tribe. Well, if we go up here and we look at our blue player, it takes 3 fish, 2 stone, and a wood to be able to build a village for that particular player. So you'll want to think about when you start the game where you start and position your meeples. That probably is going to be where you need the most of something to build a village. Okay? And you're going to want to do that because, again, the first step when it's your turn is you score villages. So the more villages you have out there, the more points you're going to be scoring at the beginning of every single round. So there's a lot of different strategies here on how to race to that 15. Do you just build a bunch of villages and try to keep them surviving? Because if someone invades your area and takes all of your meeples out of that area, your village gets taken out of the area. So do you try to build a bunch of villages and just score points at the beginning of every round, just slowly tick your way up to that 15? Or do you not worry about villages and just try to get a lot of victory points by completing your goals and your objectives? So there's lots of different ways to race to that 15. I love that as well. And that will dictate based on events that come out too. So cool artwork on each one of these. You flip them over, and on the other side, the same artwork, but they add some awesome artwork of the actual tribe member, and you'll be able to see that there. And every one of them have that artwork. Same thing to build the village. That doesn't change. But when you play the game with this side up, and I do have just the example, I left these up so you could see the artwork. This one's down for what you would play with as a standard game. But if you are going to play this way, you'd flip that up and you'd have the artwork up, and then what you would do is you could add to that tribal powers. And this is a advanced component where you then would find the card that links to your tribe, same name, same artwork, and there are 2 different tribal abilities that each tribe has. You'll pick the one that you want and you'll tuck that up under your card. And now not only will you have a difference of how you can build your huts or your villages, but you will have a difference for your tribe. So for instance here, the Kia tribe says one of those abilities is ambush. You may grow to your player board. Okay, so what does that mean? If you trigger conflict and took a move or grow action, you may add any member from your player board to hexes and conflicts. So it's basically saying if over the course of your turn, if you took a move or grow action and you're going to be in some conflict, you can actually add members from your player board to where that conflict would be in the hexes. The other side says dream time. At the start of your turn before you roll, you may look at the top 2 event tiles and put 1 on the bottom. So that's just going to let you know kind of what's coming up with events. And if you don't like something, you can pop that on the bottom and maybe not have to deal with that. So that's how these extra abilities are going to work, and that is a choice in the game if you want to play that way by adding in those abilities. It's just going to add a little bit more customization for each one of the tribes, and I would say, again, just the fun of playing this game, I would play it without that probably a few times, and then add that layer in. It just gives you, it's almost like experiencing another component of the game, and it makes the game even more different than everything that can play out just with the randomness of how you draw these cards, the randomness of the event deck, and the randomness of how these lands and tiles are going to be set up, because that's random as well. You're going to shuffle all these, and you're just going to put them out randomly. Okay, that's how the player boards are going to work. That's how everything about the players are going to work. Now you've got the main board of the game. And this is going to come with basic tiles. There's going to be the water tiles. There's going to be forest. There's going to be stone and mountain. Those are kind of the basic tiles in the game. And then you're going to have these special land tiles, and that is an advanced game component. These special tiles. Here's one here for water, and they do look more fantasy themed, the special ones, and you'll just sub those out if you want to play with those. Now I have a few of them here included. I have a forest one included. I have a water one included here in this setup. I have another one included right here. This one with the little parrot bird on it flying is going to be able to offer you any type of resource that you want. So if you're able to get 2 or 3 resources from this tile, you can mix that up and take however many types of resources you want. There's only 3 in the game. There's forest, stone, and fish, but you'll be able to choose which ones. Where if you're just on a mountain range, you only get stone. If you're on a forest, you get wood. If you're on a water tile, you get the fish, which would be considered food in this game. And then this is a really cool one, which is called the Glacier. And it's a little frozen tile, and it's going to sit right on top of a random mountain. And I put it on this one. And what's going to happen is, over the course of play, every time a player takes an action that has a double sun, and we'll talk about what that means, when that happens, you're going to put a stone on top of that glacier. And once the glacier melts, so it's taken up to 5 of those double sun actions, the glacier will be removed, and then all the stone will be on the mountain, and it's the first player to get to that area and then gather from that area gets all that stone. So I thought that was a pretty fun advanced game add-in, and I would always play with that one. I just thought that was a really cool one thematically, that the glacier is unthawing over time. So that's pretty cool. All right, there are a couple of the events that you're going to leave out in the beginning of the game that it does say in the rules, which is the abandoned village and the chieftain. Once the first village is built, you'll indicate that to all the players by you set those out and you put a village on top of it. Once that first village in the game is built, regardless of which player does it, you then would pick up these 2 events and shuffle them into the event deck. So it just keeps these 2 kind of out of the game for a little while to get started up, so they don't come out and trigger too early. All right? So that's why these are set out to the side by themselves, and they have this little village on top of them. You'll also find that there's a volcano tile that's set out by itself. That'd be triggered through events in the course of the game, and then there are quite a few more of these tiles that are out here, and these are just the extras, because again, you're going to select however many of these you need, depending on the number of players that are playing the game, and you're going to discard the rest back to the box you won't need. But you will set out this volcano tile and keep it to the side. Okay? And then you've got your events, and the events are awesome. So we can take a look here. You might ask, okay, how do you trigger event? An event triggers on doubles. So if you ever roll these dice, there you go, and you get 2 blanks. That'd be equivalent to 2 1s for me, because I do have the Curse of Will Wheaton, and I will roll consistently 1s on d6s. I think I have my best roll of 1s ever was 5 individual d6 1 rolls at a time. So beat that. So if you ever roll doubles like I just did, and it could be 2 blanks, it could be 2 suns. I should have called it. I'm on a roll now. Come on, 2 moons. Nope. All right, so if I were to roll 2 moons, 2 suns, or 2 blanks, then I would trigger an event. They have lots of things. So here's one called walls. Pay 3 stone to acquire walls, so you can build walls. Shared knowledge. Share a hex with opponents. Pay 1 resource to discard during final phase of your turn to draw 1 goal. It may be completed this turn. Discard when 3 resources are paid. So there's always it'll tell you what the event is and what happens. And then at the bottom here to tell you when you would discard it. There's also some that are like this that says any doubles. So if you roll doubles, there's an event, there's something else that will be triggered. And you can have 2 of these events live at one time. So there may be events that are in play, like the wall here, that says any doubles, add stone to reduce cost, discard if 3 stone. So if at any point in time this is still in play and hasn't been discarded yet based on the criteria that's listed below, and you roll doubles again, you would pull out a new event, but you would also have to do what was on any live events here at the bottom if it was dictating that you needed to do something with doubles. So that's kind of a cool mechanic as well with these events. And the events do add a lot of fun thematic flavor to the game. So I absolutely love the events in this game. They were done really, really well. A lot of games utilize this mechanic of the event deck, but I think this game really capitalized on how they use the events and how the events affect the game and how the events add to the theme. Again, theme, I can't say enough about how this game drips with theme. All the way from the race to the 15 points, it really truly feels like you are Rise of the Tribes. Like you're this tribe that starts small and you're rising up through the game. You're racing to this 15 points. You're adding more tribe members to the board and the theme of the events that interact with the game. Team, I'm going to have to say it, and I'll say it again at the end of this video because I want to make sure it's heard. This is a buy, okay? This game is a buy. It deserves to be in every gamer's collection, and it really is a super fun game. I'll tell you, I've played this game with gamers. I've played this game with non-gamers. Everybody loves this game, and everybody wants to keep coming back and playing this game. So I'll tell you, the proof is in the tribe pudding. You know what I'm saying? The proof is in the tribe pudding on this one, because if you've got people that have a great time every time they play it and they want more, you know you've found a great game. I tell you, I play this game and I think about, I want to play Rise of Tribes again. That doesn't always happen with every game that I have. This is a great game. Go buy this game. All right, let's get to the last area of this game, which is our board here that is all of our actions. So what's going to happen is, on your turn, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to score villages. So over the course of gameplay, you're going to be building villages. We talked about that, right? Our little, where are they? Our little wooden tokens here are villages. Here's our chit tokens of our villages. But again, got to get that deluxe upgrade. That's what makes it really cool. So you're going to have villages out there, and they're going to be different. Let's say the villages was here. You're going to have, and this is through play, right? So you're going to have villages. You can't build a village on a glacier, so that's not a good example. So let's put this over here. Let's just say we had some villages out. First thing you're going to do as a player is you're going to score those villages. And let's say it was the blue player's turn. Well, the blue player doesn't have any villages out on the board, so they're not going to score anything. They're going to stay right where they were. And these are, obviously going to be all back here now. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at these actions. And the reason why there's sun, moons, and blanks on these is because if there's ever out on this track double sun or double moon, you don't just get the base of what it's telling you can have. So it says grow, add 3 tribe members. Well, if there was 2 moons, I'd only get 2 tribe members. And if there was 2 suns, I would get 4 tribe members. And that's as a base. Now again, you could have goals that you've accomplished that have given you developments, advancements that actually add even more onto that. So again, later in that game, that's why it gets such a kind of critical race here, because there could be a lot of things you can do when you get to that point as you've built up the advancements of your tribe. So I'm going to roll these dice. Okay, I got a moon and a sun. So now I'm going to make a decision of, do I want to put this sun, where do I want to put it? Right in the beginning of the game. I can put this sun anywhere, I'm going to have 2 suns. But over the course of game and as the game plays out, that track is going to change. So you'll want to decide, where do I want to put my sun? And that may sometimes make your mind up on what action you want to take, because you want to take a certain type of action and get the max benefit from that action. And where do I want to put the moon? So let's say I'm the blue player. You know what? Right off the bat, I think I want to move, and then I think I want to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my moon on the move, and that's going to move that down. And what happens is that last one on the track pops off and it's put right here, and that's the die you're going to pick up on the next turn to roll. So I can see that I have 2 moons in that track, which tells me since I have 2 moons, I can only move 2 meeples. Well, I only got 2 tribe members anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I can only move each one hex adjacently. So I'm going to say, well, you know, I need fish and I need some stone. So I'm going to leave my guy here, and I'm actually going to move over here because this one is a special area that allows me to choose any type of resource that I want. That's what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to use the second sun to grow. So I'm going to put that right on that track, pop that one off, and now I can grow, and guess what? I got 2 suns, which tells me that I can grow by 4. So I'll grab 4 meeples, 4 of my little tribe members, and now I will decide where I want to grow. And I can grow in everywhere I have presence. So you know what? I'm gonna grow here, and I'm gonna actually put 3 there, and I'm gonna put 3 here. So I'm gonna make it equal. So now I have 6 tribe members on the board, kind of controlling these 2 hex areas. So that's good. I'm then going to say, okay, now what happens? We'll resolve conflict. There is no conflict. I'm going to build villages and complete goals. Well, I didn't have any goals. Didn't have any villages that I can build. So I'm good because I didn't collect any resources. I didn't gather on that turn because, again, I can only take 2 actions. Now it would be the next player's turn. So they would grab these dice and they would say, okay, first thing, score villages. Do I have any villages? Yes, I do. So I would score a point. And now what I would do is I would roll dice. Okay, I got a moon and a blank. But what do I want to do? Well, I might want to grow, but I probably want to gather some stones. So you know what? I'm going to move, and then I'm going to gather. So I'm going to move first, and I'm going to use the I'm going to use this moon here and put it in the moon, pop that off. So we still got 2 moons in that track, which tells me that I can move 2. So I'm going to actually move out like that. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to pop it in the gather track, and I'm going to put that right down there. And now I'm going to gather. And I don't get any bonuses because I have a blank, a sun, and a moon, so I don't have 2 of anything. And it tells me to gather on 2 hexes, I can get 2 resources. So, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm just going to gather on these 2 hexes here, which are stone, which would give me 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can now get 4 stone, and I'll take that, and I've now got 4 stone that I've gathered up, and that gives me the 4 stone that I need for a village. All I need left now is a wood and some food, some fish. So maybe I can get that on the next turn. But I don't know. Maybe I'm going to wait and maybe grow. Because now I've kind of spread out a little bit. So I want to be careful here. I've only got one tribe member in each one of those. I probably want to do some growth. All right. So I'm done with my actions. I'm now going to go to resolve conflict. No conflict. I'm now going to build villages. Can't do that or complete goals. I don't have any. So it would be now our last player's turn. They would look and say, okay, first thing, score. Can we score? Yes, we can. We got a village. So we're going to score. We're now going to roll. We got a blank and a moon. And we're going to figure out what this player would want to do. So you know what? I am going to go ahead and I'm going to move. I am going to, you know what? I'm going to move. I'm going to move, and I'm going to pop that in there and pop that off. Now, I do have 2 moons, which tells me I can only move 2 people. So I am going to go ahead and move these 2 people right into here. All right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, and I am going to, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I'm going to lead. So I'm going to put this right here, pop this down, 2 moons, and it means I can only pull 1 card because it says there 2 moons. Normally I'd be able to do 2. So I'm going to pull this card, and that's the only one I get. I'm going to always put that face up. And that's the lead. That's how we get to our advancements deck here. Control all types of hexes. Control 1 hex of each type. A water, a mountain, and a forest. If I can do that, I can cash in and get 2 victory points. Well, let's see what I got here. I do control a forest. I do not control a water area. Or a lake area, and I do not control a mountain. Okay, so I don't have that yet, all right? So I'm going to be watching that over the course of my next couple turns to try to control those things there. Now I'm going to go to resolve conflict. Now, if there was more than 5 in one hex, because a hex can hold 5 tribe members, if there was more than 5 over the course of that movement and game, I would then go into conflict, and conflict is very simple. You just remove 1 for 1, and you just keep going that way until it's kind of the last, color standing. You just remove 1 for 1. I don't have to do that because there's 5 that are on there, so there isn't technically a conflict yet. And then I would have the chance to complete goals. I can't do that because we talked about I haven't got control of all the right hexes yet. And that would be the red player's turn. Okay, so we just continue to go through. That's the basic way that you would play the game. You may notice that there is one more little meeple sitting on each one of these cards, and this is your chieftain. And this is another deluxe version of the game that I would very much encourage adding in. And what's going to happen is whenever you build a village, you can bring your chieftain out and set them on the village. And then you, once per turn, can have this extra special ability where you can give one other player one of your resources, and then you can actually take advantage of one of the things that... What's going to happen is, once per turn, you're going to be given the ability to take one of your resources, and let's say I was able to do that on this turn. I built a village, I had my chieftain out. I'm going to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to give you a wood. I'm going to give you one of my resources, and I will be able to use one of your developments, which means I could say I'm going to use the ability of your cart. That chieftain's going to be able to allow me to do that. And you can only do that once per turn. So that's the ability of the chieftain, and that is the same for every single player. So each player's chief doesn't do something different. That's just the ability that the chief gives you if you want to play with that. And that's another advanced mechanic that I would recommend always playing with. It does get a lot of fun to be able to build a village and then cash in on maybe someone else's development, and that can kind of swing how things play out over the course of that round in being able to utilize someone else's cart or someone else's horse, where you may not put much stock in that because maybe someone else has built that development and you can take use of it per your chieftain later in the game. So there's a kind of a strategy there that you can use based on utilization of the little chieftain mechanic. Or if you're saying, you know what, I want to keep it more pure, I want every tribe to kind of have their own developments, their own advancements, based on the random draw of what came out of your advancement deck, your goal deck here, then just don't play with this mechanic. And that would be considered more of the basic style of the game. Again, this is just an advanced mechanic rule that can be added in to the base play of the game. Okay? And that is Rise of Tribes. That's the whole game. Awesome, awesome game. Again, team, this is a buy. Okay? It's an absolute recommendation to go out and get this game. It comes, I think, at a fair price point for what you're getting here, included with all of this. Replayability is great. The mechanics are good. The theme drips. It is awesome. Get ready for this one. It ships in August. So hit that like, click the subscribe below to join the team. Roll them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time. Let's go, Bear!